Coming up, some encouraging news on the outlook for economic development. A new survey shows a sharp increase in site selection activity for 2021. It's a big change from just a few months ago. Genova's Executive Managing Director Larry Gigerich will break down the numbers and what they could mean for Indiana. Indianapolis-based Relay Software says it's going high-tech to make communities around Indiana safer. The Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department says an app will help with public safety as the city gears up to host March Madness. Plus,
I'm Mary Rachel Redmond. Downtown Greencastle, once a sleepy college town, now a booming foodie destination. More from Putnam County coming up.
Details on those stories and much more ahead on this edition of Inside Indiana Business. Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. Well, the Site Selectors Guild has released findings of its 2021 Outlook survey on corporate location trends, and consultants project a sharp increase in site selection activity and reveal really a positive outlook for corporate investment. 80% of consultants say companies will move forward with site selection projects. That's up from just 65% in June. There still will be some workforce challenges, though, like skilled labor shortages, and despite new opportunities with remote work. Here now to break down the survey, the potential impact on Indiana, Genova's Executive Managing Director, Larry Gigerich. And as always, Larry, thanks for joining us from your office in Fishers. This survey is one that people pay attention to. Who puts this together?
Yeah, so the Site Selectors Guild does this survey annually, and then we'll do a couple updates throughout the course of the year. And as a part of that, we then share those results with corporate decision makers and economic development officials.
Let's look at the overarching kind of takeaway, at least for me here. The survey showed a fairly sharp increase in site selection activity for 2021. So you're pretty optimistic, or have become optimistic, about what's ahead this year.
Yeah, I think for sure, as you look at the numbers, Gary, we saw when COVID hit about a year ago, a real halting effect on economic development projects. And what we've seen now is a steady increase, especially over the last 6 months. And in particular, I mean, to have 80% of site selection consultants believe there's going to be a significant increase in activity and projects will move forward is a great sign for the economy.
As we see biotech and life sciences, advanced manufacturing, transportation, logistics, among those kind of those hot sectors, if you will, all in the sweet spot of Indiana. But in particular, Larry, industrial activity, warehouses, industrial activity would seem to be something that stands to do pretty well this year.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's a couple reasons behind it. COVID really has accelerated the adoption of e-commerce and shopping activities because so many people were forced when COVID hit to do more shopping that way. So I think that, along with companies just continuing to reevaluate their supply chain and where they make product and where they distribute from, along with meeting that last mile of delivery, is something that's really important. So yes, the industrial sector is poised for a lot of success going forward, while the office market will still see some choppiness as we figure out how the remote working transitions back to some in-person working in office space.
Yeah, is that whole office situation, again, kind of a work, as you suggest, a work in progress? I think a lot of folks want to get back to the office, but how that looks, no one, I don't think, knows for sure right now.
Yeah, I think there's more to sort out. I will say this, that we're seeing with a lot of our office user clients with facilities throughout North America are indicating that they're going to have some percentage of their workforce will work remotely, either on a permanent basis or for half of their time, where they may be in the office half the time and remote the other half. So it'll still have to sort itself out, but there will be a change, and there'll be a change in the way space is designed. You won't see people packed in close to each other, perhaps like you saw in some settings in the past.
Yeah, Larry, back on the industrial segment of the market, Jones Lang LaSalle estimates that the U.S. will add another 1 billion square feet of warehouse space by the end of 2025. Again, looking at Indiana in particular, how we're positioned, where we are geographically, crossroads of America, e-commerce on the rise. Does that bode well, in your view, very positive for the state of Indiana?
Yeah, I think without a doubt. I mean, our geographic, position or location, so to speak, is outstanding when you look at manufacturing and logistics. The fact we've invested so heavily in our road infrastructure in our state has been a very important thing, and that will yield dividends for us. And we've had a talent pool to support both manufacturing and distribution for a long period of time. All those position us well, I think, to have success in that space.
Yeah, and you mentioned talent, the talent pool. There still is, though, some questions, a bit of a challenge around skilled labor and how that could impact, in particular, a state like Indiana.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We went through this COVID experience and we saw unemployment rates really jump. I think a lot of people felt like that would relieve some of the pressure on the talent issue, but that really wasn't the case. And in particular, in a number of areas, both to support manufacturing and logistics, but also on the office and tech side, lots of shortages continue for skilled workers. And really, we're facing also an issue of people who have left the workforce who may not come back. Yeah. And I think that's going to be really interesting to watch how it affects talent in Indiana going forward. 15
seconds left to kind of put a bow on this. This would seem to be a bit of optimism as we head into 2021.
Absolutely. And I think Indiana having the right fundamentals in place in terms of a business climate and investing in itself has positioned us well coming out of COVID.
All right, Larry Gigerich from Genovis, as always, some great perspective on what's ahead for economic development. Larry, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Gary. Always good to be with you.
All right. Well, Indiana's top economic development official stepped down this week. It was a surprise move. In a memo obtained by Inside Indiana Business, Indiana Secretary of Commerce Jim Schellinger said he had resigned, effective immediately, though he did not give an indication of his future plans. He's led economic development activity to 4 straight record years here. He was appointed to the position in 2017 by Governor Holcomb after serving as president of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation for 2 years. Previously spent some 30 years at Indianapolis-based CSO Architects, including an 8-year stint as CEO. Schellinger touted Indiana's economic development success over the last several years, again, including breaking records for new jobs, average wages, and capital investment. He says this year alone, the state has already landed more than 3,900 new job commitments and commitments for more than $450 million in capital investment. Governor Holcomb said he will announce an interim leader in the near future as his administration will move quickly to name Schellinger's permanent successor. Well, when we come back, we'll show you the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department's newest high-tech crime-fighting tool and why it's being showcased during March Madness. It's time to go inside innovation, brought to you by Allegiant, pioneering safety. Well, Relay Software has created a service for citizens to report non-emergency incidents to public service agencies via a mobile app. The alert will go directly to nearby officers instead of through 911, freeing up dispatchers for true emergencies. It will be put to the test over the course of the next month. And I'm pleased to welcome to the show Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department Deputy Chief of Operations Josh Barker with more on the app and how it will help law enforcement. And Chief, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Okay, this is an app. Relay is a startup, a tech company. It's been developing this. We had their CEO on a year ago, and he was very excited about it. This obviously is advanced. IMPD just now announcing they're going to use this Relay app to help in crime fighting. Number one, how does it work? What's the app all about?
Well, the app is just that, right? We recognize that while this is not a replacement for things that are already in place, it certainly is an enhancement to how the public in Indianapolis can interface with their police department directly. So it uses app-based technology to directly report non-emergency incidents and activities directly to the officers who are patrolling the neighborhoods.
So this, again, app-based technology, that includes a camera on the phone. So you can use that camera, visual evidence, if you will, to help in the process. So this really gives a lot of added benefits when officers are responding or trying to solve a situation.
That's right. I think everybody recognizes that when an incident happens, time is crucial. And I think one of the drawbacks of traditional telephonic reporting of crime, both emergent and non-emergent, is there's no way to harness the technology capability that everybody holds in their hand now with a high definition camera. And so what our officers deal with on a regular basis is the telephone game, essentially. A caller reports an incident to the non-emergency number, and then that dispatcher takes the information and then relays that secondhand directly to the officers in the field. What the Relay app allows us to do is sort of cut out that middle step. This allows people who are experiencing that issue to document it with camera or video evidence, navigate a very user-friendly interface to upload that picture and describe their complaint. Then our officers in the field who are monitoring the Relay app via their in-car laptop computers get that alert directly sent to them, and they can open up that complaint, they can see the pictures, they can get the description that was provided by the user of the app, and then they can also immediately start communicating back and forth through a messaging function to ensure that we're sending the appropriate response as requested.
Yeah. This comes at a very opportune time for you too, as Indiana, but specifically Indianapolis, prepares to host for the first time ever the entirety of March Madness. How important is this going to be? The fan base is not going to be as big as it would normally be, but still there are going to be a lot of people downtown in particular. How is this app going to help the police department?
I mean, what an incredible opportunity for our city. We recognize that we're a convention city and a sports city, which by default makes us a convention police department and a sports police department. Right. And so to be on the eve of something that's never been done in Indianapolis, your police department is very excited to have a crucial role in that. And so the benefit of Relay is anyone can go to the App Store or Google Play and download the Relay app. We would ask that you sign up for the notifications. And then it's not just simply for folks that live and work in Indianapolis. It benefits all who come to Indianapolis. And it allows us to leverage the force multiplier of visitors coming to our city to ensure that we have a positive public safety experience downtown Indianapolis while we're enjoying all this basketball.
Technology continue to play a big role in law enforcement. The Relay app. IMPD Deputy Chief of Operations Josh Barker. Chief, thanks for joining us. Good luck going forward, and good luck with March Madness.
Thanks, Gary.
All right. Well, there's a renaissance of sorts going on in Putnam County. The city of Greencastle, home of DePaul University, experiencing a big transformation. Our Mary Rachel Redmond with that story in this week's Around Indiana. Here's what's making news now around Indiana, brought to you by Chapman Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, the man for all seasons, Chapman, chapmanheating.com. Well, in the last 10 years, downtown Greencastle has seen some $30 million in public and private investment. Around Indiana reporter Mary Rachel Redmond has more on the transformation in Putnam County.
Since being named a stellar community in 2011, Greencastle has experienced a renaissance of sorts.
The change was literally almost overnight. We were able to do things in sort of a dramatic push so that you saw change within a year or two.
And TAPA coined a term called communiversity, community and university. And we know that we are only as strong as each other. And we want to provide a place that is safe and fun for their students, as well as for our townspeople.
In just under a decade, the downtown has added 8 new restaurants, notably the upscale Italian eatery Bridges in 2017, and most recently, Breadworks by Bridges, both owned and operated by the Greenfields Group, who one might say has single-handedly been responsible for transforming Greencastle into a foodie destination that rivals some of the best in the Midwest.
I thought, let's grow it, and let's have different restaurants, different concepts, bakeries, burger places, Italian restaurants, sushi restaurants, and so far, I mean, it's really taken off and become a big thing.
His latest culinary project, Breadworks, serves everything from fresh donuts and pastries to sushi and sandwiches.
This is a strawberry shortcake cake cup. Woo. That is good, as it smells and sounds.
But it's the commercial bakery side that's seen early success.
What I found here was you either got high quality, but it was really high price and it was hard to get. Or you got low quality and you can get as much as you wanted it. But I said, why sacrifice that? Why not be in the middle? Good quality, good price, and we work with everybody. So that's how Breadworks came to be. We distribute to Butler University, Wabash University, DePaul University. We're in negotiations with multiple other restaurants, but we only opened 4 months ago, and so we didn't expect so much volume right off the bat.
So is the ultimate goal to be distributed throughout Indiana?
Throughout the Midwest, and then throughout the country is the ultimate goal, I'd say. But yeah, we'll start with Indiana, and then we'll go to the rest of the Midwest, and then the rest of the country. That's the goal, at least.
And good grub is perhaps Greencastle's ticket to building what they're hoping is the next great college town in the Midwest. And by all accounts, they're on the right track.
I think all of us that are in college towns realize it's a synergistic relationship between campus and community. If DePaul is successful, Greencastle will be successful. That helps DePaul recruit faculty, quality students to campus so that they can continue their success.
We're just very grateful that we have been able to capture momentum that has really led to some really great things for downtown Greencastle.
Mary Rachel Redman, Inside Indiana Business.
All right, Mary Rachel, in the coming weeks, we'll have more on that special relationship between the chef from California and a former DePaul alum who once ran Disney, responsible for bringing the budding culinary scene to Greencastle. Well, up next, a big solar project taking off in Gibson County. Also in southwest Indiana, the state's crown jewel among theme parks, celebrating a big milestone this year. More on Holiday World and Splash and Safari's 75th season and the need for workers. Well, here's what's making news now around Indiana. The countdown at Holiday World and Splash and Safari is on. The park says it will open for its 2021 season in May. The Spencer County Amusement Park is celebrating its 75th season this year. It says it expects an increased number of visitors, planning to hire up to 2,000 seasonal employees. Holiday World encouraging retirees, educators, and other adults to apply as well. Departments with available positions include food and beverage, ride operations, and lifeguards. A second major solar project is being planned for Gibson County. Capital Dynamics in Switzerland and Nebraska-based Tenaska expect to begin construction on the $250 million, 280-megawatt Gibson solar project near Princeton next year. The project expected to generate 266 full-time construction jobs and a small number of full-time jobs once the solar array comes online in 2023. And the Northwestern Indiana Telephone Company has announced that all telephone users in the 219 and 574 area codes in northern Indiana will soon convert to 10-digit dialing. The company says customers can now start using 10-digit dialing instead of 7 digits to make local phone calls. while other carriers will be ready to convert by April. According to NITCO, the Federal Communications Commission is requiring the change to accommodate the implementation of the National 988 National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which will be fully operational by July of next year. Well, March Madness tips off in Indiana in 2 short weeks. One of the key figures in landing the entire tournament here is my next guest on the Business and Beyond podcast. Indiana Sports Corporation President Ryan Vaughn grew up on Indy's west side. He nearly drowned as a child, but graduated Wabash College as an All-American swimmer, and now he leads Central Indiana's sports tourism sector. Vaughn peeled back the curtain on what it took to put the massive March Madness deal together.
We had some real challenging logistical problems to overcome on a short notice. You think, the first conversations with the NCAA starting late October, early November about an event that tips off on March 14th. That's a really compressed timetable.
Much more with Indiana Sports Corporation President Ryan Vaughn on this week's Business and Beyond podcast. To subscribe, just go to InsideIndianaBusiness.com and click on the subscribe tab. Well, coming up next, one-on-one healthcare making a difference for low-income mothers-to-be. We'll have details on nonprofit CareSource's outreach program with Goodwill that is providing moms and babies with a path for the future. Also ahead, we'll check in on the IUPUI KELLEY School of Business on changes to its undergraduate curriculum, high-tech classrooms, and how the school is dealing with the challenges of the pandemic. Stay with us. Well, Indiana has historically had one of the worst infant mortality rates in the country, but the state is making progress. In 2019, Indiana saw its largest drop in infant mortality in 6 years. A nonprofit health plan in the Hoosier State is now investing in a program to help Indiana make even more progress. And Business of Health reporter KELLEY Valletta has more. KELLEY.
Thank you, Gary. CareSource is a multi-state nonprofit health plan with about 200,000 members statewide. It's one of the nation's largest Medicaid managed care plans. CareSource recently announced a joint program with Goodwill of Central and Southern Indiana's Nurse Family Partnership. The goal is to help some of the highest risk moms deliver healthy babies. Joining me now to tell us more about the effort is Steve Smitherman, the president of CareSource Indiana. Steve, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, tell us, first of all, what is CareSource doing? How are they joining forces with Goodwill to focus on moms and babies here in the Hoosier State?
Yeah, so we are providing the funding for Nurse Family Partnerships to bring on additional nurses to provide care for these families, particularly in 9 counties in Southeast Indiana. And we really focus on that area of the state because that's the area of the state that has the least resources available to pregnant moms. So we're hoping through this partnership we can make a significant impact in that area.
So I understand CareSource is providing $100,000 to help provide a nurse, and this nurse has started last month. Explain what this nurse means, sort of the day in, day out. What is that experience like to have the nurse for the mother and baby?
Yeah, so the nurse will work with moms during and after their pregnancy to provide medical, parenting, and family education. It's really a real-time resource for the moms to be able to reach out to anytime should they have questions or concerns, and also to ensure that the nurse will ensure that mom is getting all the necessary visits pre and post-delivery for not only herself, but also the baby.
And one of the great things about this is that these are home visits, correct? The mom doesn't even need to leave her house?
Correct. The nurses will be going into the homes of the members to provide these services. So it's nice. The members will not have to worry about transportation or other elements that this way we will ensure that the mom's getting all the visits that they need prior to delivery.
And we were estimating that this will impact about 25 moms total, even though it's just one nurse. CareSource could have partnered with a variety of programs. Why did CareSource choose Goodwill, this program at Goodwill, to be its partner in particular?
Well, I think, first of all, the infant mortality rate in Indiana has been a concern for a long time. We have one of the highest infant mortality rates in the country and the highest in the Midwest. And I know the governor's initiative around reducing that and becoming the best in the Midwest by the end of his term is something we wanted to align ourselves to. And so what we've seen from previous experience in nurse-family partnerships is great outcomes from the members that they work with. 89% of the members are born at normal birth weight. 95% of the members are born full term. And then if you look at historically out past 10, 20 years after individuals have been in this program, we see higher graduation rates, lower incarceration rates, just tremendous outcomes for this program. And that's why, we're very intentional of where we invest our dollars, somewhere that we can see and measure the impact that it's making. And we feel like this program is one of those things.
So CareSource covers multiple states, and this is the first state, Indiana, where CareSource is launching this program, so it's a pilot program. What results are you hoping to see, and what do you think that could mean for the future of the partnership?
Yeah, this is a pilot, and if we see the results that we expect or hoping to see, we will look to expand upon this pilot in future years. And really what we're looking at is to help reduce the infant mortality rates in the area that our nurses will be working. In addition, also to see the impact they may have around NICU cases. The birth weight and the full term is great data that they have. Also around breastfeeding, 93% of their members initiate breastfeeding. We see about 60% less ER utilization for these members. And the great thing is, these nurses will stay with the mom 2 years post-delivery to ensure that these children are getting all of their well-child visits completed as well.
So do you think this could expand throughout the entire state, or even be sort of a model for other states that CareSource works with?
Absolutely. I can see this expanding into other parts of the state, as well as expanding this into our other markets if it's as successful as we expect it to be.
So the infant mortality rate in Indiana has dropped for 3 consecutive years. However, we're still well above the national average. You mentioned off camera, this is just one way that CareSource is trying to impact infant mortality. What are some of the other efforts that you have underway?
Yeah, at CareSource, we have a dedicated maternal child team that works closely with moms and babies. We go around the state and provide what we call baby fairs, which would be similar to a baby shower, where we bring in our pregnant moms or moms that have recently delivered and do a lot of education around, parenting, medical, family education is involved in that as well. So that team is very ingrained in the community. They touch all areas of the state. Prior to COVID, we were out in person on a regular basis. We're doing more virtually right now. But post-COVID, we will definitely be getting out in the community again. And we also do a lot of work with the local hospitals and their NICUs, making sure that the NICU babies are transitioning into their homes safely. And one of the things we're doing around that is we're providing baby scales. So we're providing baby scales to the moms of the babies that are being released from NICU that they can have at home. This serves multi-purposes. One, it prevents mom and baby from having to get out and go to the doctor just for a weight check. 2, it provides mom with, a peace of mind that anytime she's concerned about the baby weight, she will have the scale in her home where she can weigh the baby. So we think this is just another way that we can help contribute to reducing the infant mortality rates across the state of Indiana.
Okay, well, Steve, thanks for being on the show and telling us about it. Good luck with the program.
Thank you so much.
Gary, back to you.
All right, Kylie, thank you. Well, the Kelley School's undergraduate program in Indianapolis not only has a new faculty chair this semester, but the program really also has a new career-focused curriculum that launched recently. And I'm pleased to welcome to the show Clinical Assistant Professor of Management and Business Law, and she's now serving as the faculty chair at the Kelley School of Business's undergraduate programs at IUPUI, Charlotte Westerhouse Renfro. And Charlotte, as always, great to see you.
Same here, Gary. It's always good to see you.
Yeah. Hey, so a new role for you in terms of heading up the undergraduate programs, the program chair. How's that whole process going?
It's going great. It's kind of the worst of times, I would say, COVID, but it's the best of times in regards to all the opportunities, and we're ready to roll.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that, because you're looking at some curriculum changes that you've made, and a lot of that has been driven by the business community and really looking at that focus, that connection between education and business. What kinds of things did you learn from the business community? How has that impacted the undergraduate curriculum?
Well, the great thing we learned from the business having to do with their action. Last year, right in the midst of COVID, we still found jobs. 90% of our graduates found jobs within 60 days. But what we learned from the business is they want our students, but they want students who are career focused, long-term, analytical thinkers. And here's the good news. Our students actually want this too. Mm-hmm. They want more than a job. They want to understand right from the start what a career is like. And one of the most important, I think, innovative facets of this new program is internships with businesses, starting with freshman and sophomore year. Typically, our students have internships junior or senior, but we believe with our curriculum, our new courses, the earlier they start with internships, the more successful they'll be with Indiana businesses, and the more successful our businesses will be.
Yeah, and I've got to imagine the business community was probably pretty interested in talking to you about that and really engaging and trying to give their input, if you will, in the educational process.
Absolutely. They were extremely interested, and now extremely eager as we move out of COVID and revitalize our economy and our jobs here in Central Indiana.
Okay, this fall, freshman students, to give you an idea of some of these new courses, will get a new professional perspective course that gives them the sense of necessary components and relationships for career success. Is that, I guess, a good example of what we're talking about here in terms of the new course offerings?
Yes, early on, starting in their sophomore year, they'll have a better idea of what's happening, perspectives, various, not behind just the name of what supply chain really does. And also another great course we're going to be adding is technology and business analytics. No matter your major, whether it be marketing, you need analytics. Here in Indianapolis, we're at your supply chain center, you need analytics. HR professionals, you need analytics. So that will be incorporated in their sophomore or beginning of junior year to help them with our integrated core to understand how business works as a unit versus a singular subject or major.
Yeah, COVID obviously has presented challenges for everyone, but some of the silver linings, if you will, coming out of that, the ability to do online, you're going to integrate that too in that online component in the curriculum as well.
Well, we're going to integrate it in a way that I think is going to be extremely helpful for our students. We learned a lot of lessons using this technology, and I'll say predominantly all of our classes are going to be in person. But we're going to integrate what we learned from the technology, place it with our faculty face to face. And I really think that the students, especially our freshmen and sophomores, who their past maybe senior year have not had teachers in front of them, they're really looking forward to seeing us in the classroom face to face, integrating the technology we learned when we taught classes online.
And I've got to assume you and many others at IUPUI are anxious to get students back for that in-person classroom experience.
Absolutely. As a faculty member, there's nothing like it. We've done a great job. We have done a fantastic job with our students online, but our students want us in front of them, and we want to be in front of them as well.
Charlotte Westerhouse Renfro is the faculty chair of undergraduate programs at IUPUI, the Kelley School of Business. Charlotte, always great to see you. Thanks for the perspective, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Same here, Gary. Take care.
Right. Well, more tech jobs are coming to Indianapolis. New York's Wonderkind Corporation, which acquired Indianapolis-based Smarter HQ in November, says it will invest more than $3 million to co-locate with Smarter HQ on the north side of Indy and could create up to 224 jobs over 4 years. Wonderkind has developed a multi-channel marketing platform for e-commerce retailers, publishers, and travel companies. The company says the expansion to Indy will help accelerate its ability to ship new products by growing its engineering and customer service teams. Wonderkind currently has about 440 employees and says it will add an average of 40 jobs per year in Indy. The company currently hiring for implementation, client engineering, and customer service positions. It is almost batter-up time at Victory Field, and there's some breaking news involving the Indianapolis Indians this season. Details when we return. Well, after a pandemic-forced hiatus in 2020, minor league baseball is returning on a slightly delayed basis to two iconic downtown Indiana ballparks. Bill Benner has more this week's Inside Indiana Sports. Bill?
Gary, thanks. And spring training is underway, and with a new agreement with Major League Baseball now in force, the Indianapolis Indians and the Fort Wayne Tin Caps are looking forward to a resumption of baseball in early May at Indy's Victory Field and Fort Wayne's Parkview Field, respectively. And joining us today to talk about taking us out to the ballpark again are Indians President and General Manager Randy Lewandowski and Tin Caps President Mike Nutter. And gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Randy, we're going to start with you. News this week, not an April opening as you anticipated, a slight reduction in schedule, but because of COVID and safety precautions taken by Major League Baseball, the Indianapolis Indians now set for an early May opening.
Yeah, and I would say this, Bill, it probably didn't come as a surprise. Though we got a schedule in late February and it had an early April start date, there had been inclinations that COVID and COVID protocols, just like anything else, was going to cause us to adjust. And as we've learned over the last 365 days, adjusting and being flexible is the way of the world these days. It's important. The way it's going to work is we'll lose 12 home dates in April. Get a couple back in July for sure around what was going to be a pseudo all-star break. And then there's still a possibility we can play deeper into September than we ever have. That hasn't been satisfied or decided yet, but something that we're going to look at with Major League Baseball and hopeful that we'll get things going. But we're just excited that we've got a schedule. We're talking baseball. Springtime is here. Spring training's rolling. And look forward to bringing people back to downtown Indianapolis.
Mike, let's talk about the Professional Development League, and that was the agreement that was announced, I believe, back in December, that brings 120 existing minor league franchises under the Major League fold under this new agreement, and obviously that was an important step for your team and your franchise.
Absolutely. Major League Baseball has the oversight now of what we always knew as minor league baseball, and some of the old terms that we use with professional baseball agreements and things are gone, but the three teams in the Hoosier State are in the new program and a part of the 120 because of the success and all of our great fans from around this state. So big picture, there'll be some changes for guys like Randy and I to deal with on the backside, but really excited about the new things going forward.
And Mike alluded to the third team, that would be the South Bend Cubs. Randy, let's talk about to both of you, but we'll start with Randy. We don't know what the fan protocols exactly were going to be in Indianapolis, but certainly it's going to be exciting to welcome actual people back to the ballpark.
Yeah, we are. I think both Mike and I and our staffs did a great job last year, in the summer and in the fall to activate our ballparks the best that we could, but it wasn't our core businesses. So we're excited to get back to baseball. Yeah, everyone's going to work with their health departments. We're going to allow the NCAA, as Indianapolis is going to host March Madness. That's going to be great. That's going to help pave the way, I think, for protocols. We'll dovetail with that. Our plan is in queue with the Marion County Health Department. We'll be looking to sit down with them here sometime soon to hammer out our plan. But lots of great ways already being paved for us. And I know Mike's had some success up with his health department up in Fort Wayne. So it's just like anything else. We've got to take the proper protocols and guidelines. Health and safety is the most important thing for our fans, our staffs, our players. It's a real world deal that everybody has to deal with, and we'll do the best that we can and deal with whatever limited capacities there are now. Being outdoors is going to help us, and we'll hope that we can see some growth in those limited capacities as we make our way through the season.
Yeah, Mike, and I know you've already talked with your health department, and they have given you some guidelines for the upcoming season.
Absolutely. Our opening day for the Tin Caps is May 4th, but we're going to play a bunch of college and high school games to fill in when we would normally be playing in May. So we received word this week that our plan of just around 3,000 fans has been approved to start. Like Randy said, hopefully as we go, it increases. But we appreciate everything the Board of Health has done. They've got a lot of stuff to worry about beyond, the Tin Caps and Victory Field and Parkview Field and things like that. So we thank them for what they're doing. We're excited just to get going. We didn't expect we'd open at 8,000 people. we'll start where we are and hopefully build from there.
Gentlemen, we got about a minute left. Now, certainly the impact of Victory Field and Parkview Field on the downtowns of Indianapolis and Fort Wayne is significant. I know, Randy, you have brought about 600,000 fans down every baseball season for a number of years, 500,000 about in Fort Wayne. Just again, Randy, start quickly, talk about the impact of Victory Field on downtown Indianapolis.
Well, we think it's the best outdoor community gathering place in Indianapolis. I'd say the state, but Mike's on with us right now, and we know Fort Wayne does a great job. But that's what we're about, bringing people together. We've been told not to do that for a year. People are going to be anxious to do that once again, and we hope to be at the forefront, just like Mike's going to be up in Fort Wayne.
Yeah, and Mike, again, the Parkviewville, a real downtown asset in Fort Wayne.
Absolutely, and we think the baseball is great and it's very important, but we can be a part by opening up of the healing and bringing our community back together, just like Randy said, and we couldn't be more excited.
Well, gentlemen, thanks for being on the program. And again, we can't wait to think about having baseball in two great downtown venues in Indianapolis and Fort Wayne. Randy Lewandowski of the Indianapolis Indians, Mike Nutter of the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. Gentlemen, thanks for being on the show with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Gary, back to you.
All right, Bill, great that baseball is right around the corner. Thanks. Well, this week on the Business and Beyond podcast, I sit down with Indiana Sports Corporation President Ryan Vaughn. As a boy, he hung out with his West Side Indianapolis buddies, romping in the creek, swimming, shooting hoops, experiences that provided a solid foundation and ultimately led to a successful career in law, politics, and now is a driving force behind Central Indiana's $3.4 billion sports tourism industry. A defining moment in Ryan's life, a near drowning experience as he was racing around his grandparents' pool with playing cards clipped to his tricycle.
And I fell in, and maybe this speaks to my personality, but apparently I'm told I would not let go of the tricycle, and so I was stuck on the bottom. And nearly drowned. Luckily, my dad noticed the absence of sound and rushed in and was able to save me.
Ryan actually went on to become an All-American swimmer in college. Much more with Indiana Sports Corporation President Ryan Vaughn. He's this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast. To subscribe, just go to InsideIndianaBusiness.com and click on the subscribe tab. Up next, the story behind a Made in Indiana film that is about to hit the national stage.
Every time I take one step forward, seems like I've
Boy, Dylan Wright came in this morning. He wants to fight you.
Never say die.
A father's fight. High hopes for this low-budget feature film with roots in southern Indiana. We'll have details when we come back. Scenes from A Father's Fight. It's a film with Indiana written all over it, from the production in New Albany and Harrison County to the CORYDON native who plays the lead role. A Father's Fight will make its nationwide debut in just a few weeks. It's the second film, the first full-length feature film, produced by First Capital Films, a faith-based film organization associated with First Capital Christian Church in Corydon. And we get more now on the movie and getting a big national distribution deal from director Tyler Sansom. And Tyler, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, congratulations too. Give us a thumbnail description of First Capital Films, small independent faith-based film company.
Yeah, our church, First Capital Christian Church, has been doing a lot of video-based ministry, I guess before it was cool, before the pandemic hit and everyone had to do it. We've been doing it for a while, and this creative side of who we are kind of branched out an entire film division, essentially. And so this is our second large project that we've taken on, but the first full-length feature that we've got to make. All right,
give us the description. Tell us what A Father's Fight is all about, because there's a bigger message or bigger meaning within in the film, right?
Yeah, the whole thing is shaped around the theme of boxing. But really, you get to meet Bo, the main character, who's in his mid-30s. Used to be a really promising boxer and kind of took the wrong path in life. So when we meet him in the movie, he's lost his marriage and lost his kids, and he's kind of just struggling with addiction. And he gets one more chance to fight. And through this, his trainer, Sal, which is the other main character, uses this opportunity to teach him how to fight for things that actually matter in his life, how to fight for his kids, how to fight for his marriage, how to fight for becoming a better person. And
you, no doubt there's the Hoosier flavor in this film, filmed primarily in southern Indiana and Louisville, right? So you really get that Indiana flavor by watching the film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. As you look at this, because I think from a business standpoint, very difficult, very competitive, very challenging to get distribution deals. And you were actually able to land a global distribution deal with the company Green Apple Entertainment. That had to make you very happy, very proud about that. Talk about that process.
Yeah, so we self-funded the entire project. We crowd-funded the whole thing. So everything came in as donations. We didn't have a studio backing it or anything like that. Significantly lower budget than even indie picture films. I think the average independent picture is usually around like $70,000 to $100,000 on the very low end, and we came in at 30.
Wow!
So we had to be very crafty on how to make a quality product that didn't feel like a $30,000 movie.
Yeah.
And I'm confident we did that. And Green Apple saw the trailer and kind of fell in love with it, and here we are.
And you had to be crafty filming that during the pandemic, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I feel really bad for our AD, the person that was doing all the scheduling. She had to be very flexible.
All right, very quickly, we don't have much time left. March 13 is the public premiere in Corydon, but before that, you're doing a private showing down there. Talk about that briefly.
Yeah, we wanted the people that the movie was written for, the ones that really need to learn how to fight for the families, fight for the marriages. We wanted them to see it first and to show them that we cared and want to help them out. So we're actually premiering the movie at the Harrison County Jail on the 8th, 9th, and 10th. The whole jail will be able to see it, so roughly 200 inmates, and we're going to do a question and answer with some of the cast and crew there as well.
That's a great story. Tyler Sampson, the director of A Father's Fight, First Capital Films in Southern Indiana. Congratulations on getting the distribution deal. Hope you have many more in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Well, the Indianapolis International Airport has been awarded the Airports Council International's 2020 Airport Service Quality Award for Best Airport in North America. ACI says the airport #1 in its category of airports accommodating 5 to 15 million passengers annually. This is the 9th consecutive year, 10th overall, the airport has received this prestigious honor. The award's determined on passenger feedback collected on the day that passengers travel. Airports rated on 34 performance indicators, including access, check-in, and security, among others. And I'll be right back after this. Stay with us. Coming up next week, March is Women's History Month, and in recognition of that, a special all-women's edition of our show. Meet the new president and chief operating officer at Columbus-based Cummins, Jennifer Rumsey. She shares her hope, her vision for other women in the engineering world. And Trendiana takes us to women-owned businesses. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gary Dick. Go out and make it a successful week.
Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick is a production of Grow Indiana Media Ventures with support from WFYI Productions.